Hello my friends, this is Wake Angel 2001, coming at you with a review of the stuff that Zach sent me in the care package. Up first is the 2.5-inch Egg Robo figure, Jack's Pacific version. So this is a boxed figure, not open packages, not blisters. And you can see the wave it came in was the same one that had Neutron and Supersonic on it. And it looks like a Knuckles with a different pose. His arms are in a different position than they were before, unless they're just kind of pushed back. I'm not sure. It's hard to tell from this one picture of it. So, if you open the box, you will find inside is a paper bag. So I guess this is the full environmentally friendly packaging. And inside the paper bag itself is the Egg Robo. So, yeah, Egg Robo looking pretty good. Let's get him situated here. First things first, let's straighten out his legs. He is sculpted with his legs in a slight bend, so even though there's no knee joint, it doesn't look too stock straight. Shoulders are on a swivel with, a universal joint. Elbows are also universally jointed. Nothing at the wrist. Head can swivel. And the backpack, the jetpack, it does not swivel. I thought it swiveled at first, but it does not swivel. Paint job is immaculate. He has like the stripes. There's no sculpting on the chest detailing. That's all just painted on there. The eyes do not have the little pupils painted in. Although the jetpack does have all of its stripes put in place. The stripes on his shoes and even the fancy patterns on the soles are all in place. So all in all, it's actually a very well painted figure. Very well painted. Now, hold on. I'm not sure if I'm having a hard time standing him because the figure is legitimately top heavy, if the legs are just positioned wrong, or if my stand is like my setup here isn't conducive to its standing. There we go. Yes. Alright, so we have an Egg Robo in this scale, so of course we know that there's one thing we gotta compare it to. That is the Jazzwares Egg Robo, which is actually slightly larger. Isn't that interesting? Now, keep in mind, the Jazzwares Egg Robo was nowhere near as well painted initially. It had like the very basic paint job of a McDonald's toy, and it only looks like this because I went over it with my paintbrushes myself. So like these buttons, the stripes on his shoes, the panel lining on the helmet, the stripes on the jetpack, all of this was hand painted by me. Even the white gloves, that's something I also had to paint. And of course this thing comes with a whopping 2 points of articulation, swivel cut shoulders, that's all it had. But then again, this was just a pack-in accessory figure, not a full-fledged singular release, so, much smaller budget. It did, however, come with the gun, a very impressive gun, which the figure can stand while holding because the jetpack acts as a balancer, which allows it to stand while pointing the gun. So that was something impressive. Now, something that I've been curious about is if you can actually get the Egg Robo to hold the Jazzwares Egg Robo's gun. And the answer appears to be no. Yeah, it's a shame, but it looks like the handle is just slightly too big. The finger is not going to go anywhere in that trigger guard, and with the lack of a wrist swivel, it doesn't seem to, like the gun is at a slight angle, and the gun's weight is overpowering the elbow joint. So, yeah, like overall, you're not going to be able to get this thing to hold the Jazzwares figure's gun if you have it. It's just not something that is going to be happening. So yeah, lack of gun aside, like this may not be like a battle Egg Robo, but this could easily be one of the minion troopers. Like There have been instances where we've seen Egg Robos that weren't armed, so this could be one of those, like the ones that Eggman employed as workers before he had the egg pawns. Yeah, that could be what we got going on. Comparing to the classic Eggman, you see that it is a little bit shorter than him, which is more or less accurate to the scaling from the games. So let's go ahead and compare him to some other stuff. Here it is next to the 4-inch Eggman. Here it is next to the 4-inch Egg Robo, which actually does come with the gun. On this note, I think the only thing that the original has better is these two little tech greeble stripes on the inside of his buttons. Those appear to be the only paint applications that the larger figure has that the smaller figure does not. Although it is worth pointing out that the Jakks Pacific version of either Egg Robo doesn't have the pupils painted in, whereas the older Jazzwares figure did. Despite the fact that this was a much less detailed paint job before I did my customizing work on it, for what it's worth, it did have the pupils, which, you know, some that might upset some people more than others. And lastly, here it is next to Modern Eggman. Yeah, I can't really think of any fiction where Egg Robos were ever this short, so this is definitely something for your 2.5-inch figures to interact with. It's something for your Death Egg playsets. It's, you know, to play around with your smaller Eggman figure. Like, it is not really something that you're going to put next to your 4-inch figures. That's what the 4-inch Egg Robo is for. So, yeah, like, but yeah, like, as long as you are expecting it to be in a certain scale, this is a really great figure. Fantastically well made for its size. The only thing that I seem to be having any trouble with is the fact that the feet just don't seem to be molded all that well for standing. It can be a little bit difficult to get it to balance. So, yeah, that's the one thing. Maybe if it had its gun to act as a counterbalance for its jetpack, then we'd be in business. But yeah, lack of gun aside, great little figure. So this is Wake Angel 2001 signing off.